Over the last few days, our stories have included a few prophets, Elijah and Samuel, but these were not the only prophets. God sent many prophets to give messages to the people, prophet after prophet after prophet. They were all different. Some were rich and some were poor. Some were young, some were old. Some spent their whole lives knowing they were going to be prophets, and some were really surprised. But today I want to look at a very important prophet named Jeremiah. Do any of you have a nickname? My parents named me Elizabeth. Lots of people named Elizabeth have a nickname. Liz, Lizzie, Beth, but my parents didn't want me to have a nickname. So I've always gone by Elizabeth, other than the occasional Lizzie or Lizless from a family member. Well, Jeremiah had a nickname too, but it wasn't exactly the nickname that anyone wants. He was called the Weeping Prophet. And it probably wasn't a name that Jeremiah wanted either, but he got it because he always told the people what God said, whether it made them cry or laugh. And most of the messages that God gave Jeremiah made the people cry. In Jeremiah's time, the people were pushing God away. They were worshiping other gods. They were disobeying God. And Jeremiah warned them if they kept pushing, if they kept ignoring God, God just might ignore them too. Jeremiah warned them that if they continued to disobey, God would send them to a faraway land. And with every message, Jeremiah cried. He wept. God was sad too. God didn't want to be separated from his people, and he didn't want to send them away, but he also knew if he didn't do something, his people might never come back to him. So one day, God sent an army to destroy the temple. We mentioned that a little bit yesterday, if you remember. The army not only destroyed the temple, but took the people away from their homes. The army took the young, the old, the poor, the rich, the king, and even Jeremiah. The people found themselves living in a land far away from their home, far away from each other, and feeling so far away from God. And the people were finally ready for a new message from God. And this was a message that didn't necessarily make them cry, but they weren't sure what to do with it. Jeremiah, the weeping prophet, was the one to give them this message. These aren't the exact words that Jeremiah spoke, but it is a little bit of a summary. Pretend for just a moment that you're one of those people, that you were taken from your home to a foreign land, and God has sent you a letter. These are the words God spoke through Jeremiah to the people. My children, you are far away from home and far away from me. I've got bad news, and I've got good news, and I've got better news. The bad news is you're going to stay away for a long, long time. You won't come home this month or this year or even this decade. You need to make yourself at home right where you are. Build a home, start a family, plant a garden. These are all the things that you need. The good news is that as odd as it sounds, I'm going to do something good while you're away. I'm going to make your neighbors, people who don't look like you or talk like you, turn to me. Because of the way you love them, many people will know me. But that's not all. The better news is that this won't last forever. Does it feel like you're all alone? Does it feel like my plans aren't working? Those things aren't true. I'm with you and I have a plan. But not just a plan for today, but a plan for tomorrow. A forever plan, and it's a good plan. It's a great plan. It's a plan to make the wrong things right and the dark things light. It's a plan to bring you back to me. Come back to me and I'll come back to you. And when I do, you'll remember what another prophet said, Emmanuel, which is a name that means God with us. I love you, God. Jeremiah might have been called the weeping prophet, but he knew that God was with him. Whether the people were laughing or crying, smiling or frowning, God was with them and God was with Jeremiah. And even when the people stopped listening to God, even when the temple was destroyed, even when the people were taken to a faraway land, God was there. But God couldn't remain. Sin drove him away. So Jeremiah, far away from home, began to hope and to pray, God, will you come back to stay?